Welcome. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being patient. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're here now. And I have the lovely Veronica B. Cole here with me. Doesn't she look pretty?
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Welcome, everybody. I'm seeing some UK friends. Awesome. Boston, Mass. Got Michigan in the house. Hi, Kat. Good to see you. So, let me know in the chat. Can you guys hear us okay? Veronica, say hi.
Hey, everyone.
Let us know that you can hear. We just want to make sure because I'm seeing some hearts. Thank you so much. And if you do like both Veronica and I and are excited about PatternCon, please hit that like button so that it tells YouTube you're excited and you like this kind of content. It helps us out, helps push it out. Hello from Buckeye, Gina. Welcome. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Trisha. I am the owner of Creative Costume Academy, also the founder of PatternCon, which is coming up really soon. It's actually not coming up really soon, but we have exciting things coming up.
It feels like it's really soon.
Couple months, right? Okay, good. Everything's they saying we can hear you perfectly. Great. So we have some exciting updates that we are going to be sharing with you today that we have not announced anywhere yet. So you guys are hearing all of the top news nowhere, even if you're on the party list. So I've asked Miss lovely Veronica to join us today because you'll find out soon. Veronica, do you want to tell them a quick little quick hello and who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hi, everyone. My name is Veronica, and I am formerly known as Needle in the Bell. And within the sewing community, I am a teacher, I am a pattern designer, I am a sewing influencer, and I'm predominantly known within the community as a projector sewist, as well as someone who advocates for plus sizes as well as size inclusivity in this world.
Yes, which is my favorite. Okay, somebody said I had feedback. How does that sound? Can you still hear? How does the feedback sound? And can you hear Veronica? Because I've turned off the Veronica has feedback in her sound. So we're gonna work out the sound because I just turned off. Getting some feedback still. Okay. Veronica has feedback. Trisha can hear perfectly. Now you can hear me perfectly. You heard feedback with Veronica. One more time. We'll just say, Veronica, what is your favorite pattern that you've created so far? Can you even tell us that? Do you have a favorite?
I feel like because it's seasonal and it's really kind of in right now, and also I just finished making it for my cruise, is probably the very first indie pattern that I drafted and published, and that is called the Cali dress, and it can be found at Made for Mermaids.
Yes, I know the Made for Mermaids Cali dress. It is a good one for summer, for sure. How does Veronica sound now? I think I fixed the sound situation. Yes, better now.
Okay.
Thank you, tech gods, for smiling on us. Okay, cool. Yeah, there's lots of fun technology stuff that has to happen to make these things work. Okay, cool. Yay. Awesome. Glad to hear. They say they can hear you perfectly. So, just a quick little intro about PatternCon before we get into the big news. We're going to tease it a little bit. So, for those of you who don't know about PatternCon, PatternCon is the first ever pattern-focused convention focused solely on garment making and fitting for the sewist who loves to sew. And I'm just realizing that my dog is outside and he's barking to come in. We may have to go run and let him in. But it is happening August 16th and 17th. If you want to be the first to know about, we're going to give you some gems here tonight, today. But if you want to be the first to know about what's going on, when tickets go on sale, when it is available for you, make sure you're on the party list. You can find the party list on patterncon.com. That link is down in the descriptions. You can hear all about, what we're going to be offering. So we are gathering the best teachers in the industry to focus on fit and pattern drafting. It will be focused mainly on pattern drafting and fitting, not so much sewing this year, although, they go hand in hand. And our big focus with PatternCon is to is the community, is to come together where all of us can be together with people who love the same things that we love, and to just really, be with our people. We're going to have a lot of community engagement things happening. We have some main stage speakers. We're going to provide lunch both days. You get snack packs both days. We're going to have vendors. It's just going to be a huge party. Plus, we're learning about fitting and pattern making. So I know a lot of you, yes, it's going to be so exciting. I'm so excited. I know a lot of you just joined me for my Fitabulous Fit Bootcamp, and some of you joined us in my private membership, the Pattern Place. So if you enjoyed the bootcamp, PatternCon is going to be kind of like that, but in person. Times 100. It's where we're hosting it in Charlotte is going to be at the Airport Sheridan. So there is a free airport shuttle. That was really important to me. Free parking for people attending the event. So those of you in Charlotte know how important that is, because that was definitely. We do have discounted room blocks for the event as well. And it's just going to be a really good time. So some of the teachers, I will be starting to announce our teachers and our subjects that we're going to be having here pretty soon this week. So look out for that. Of course, we will be giving more information. But the main reason that we wanted to kind of start this conversation again today is because we will have our first set of tickets go on sale next Friday. So if you are looking to join us, do keep an eye on your emails, because we will be selling first the emails, because there are a limited number of tickets. So the first batch of tickets that will go on sale on Friday, this next Friday, which is the 25th, I think, will be for volunteer tickets. And so volunteer tickets will include all the classes, all the lunch, you get a swag bag. There's going to be, tools and things, all the goodies. But the volunteer tickets will get to basically participate in the event as our extra VIP helpers. So they get extra time with me. If you show up early on the Friday, we have an extra special VIP session where it's just me and the volunteers hanging out, as that's extra special. And we have a dedicated volunteer goodie bag that is only going to be for the volunteers for being extra helpful, and they get their own personalized t-shirt that will only be for the volunteers. And then it's like we have 30 volunteers, so it's just extra hands for us. We're going to be doing giveaways of prizes and getting everybody, excited about things, and we just need more hands than I have to be able to do all those things. So that's what the volunteers are, but we do have a limit of 30 of those. So it's the same price as the full ticket, and it's not going to take away from any of the festivities. You're still going to get to participate in all of those festivities, but since we do have a limit, we're going to put those on sale first. So that is what goes on sale on Friday the 25th. And our volunteers will get extra time with me, extra time with our teachers and our keynotes, and you just get a little bit more behind the scenes for helping us out.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, it's super fun. And I mean, because there's 30 of you, nobody's going to be we're not going to work you to the bone. It's not anything crazy. We just need some extra hands. So that's what that is. Those are going to go on sale next Friday, but there's only 30 of them. So that's we're gonna
ready, set those alarms.
Yeah. And so that's why if you want to be one of those guys, then make sure you pay attention to your emails, because we will give all the details and all the information through the emails. Then our main ticket sales will go on sale May 2nd. So the following Friday, right before Atlanta Frogtails, PS.
Right before Atlanta Frogtails. And you will be hanging out with me.
That's right. I will be on my way to Atlanta the very next day. So, hi guys. Hi. I'm seeing some hellos. Not able to listen now, Susan, but you'll come back. That's okay. Yay, yay, yay. So yeah, May 2nd is the general admission tickets. Now we only can have 300 people max. That is our capacity. So after we've sold the 30, there will, and with all of our teachers and everything have to be included in that. So we will have about, I think it's 265 tickets left.
Okay.
And I know that we have about 500 people on our party list right now. So
Wow.
we will be doing the same thing where we will have like a countdown page for both the volunteer and for the general admission tickets. We'll have a countdown page. When that countdown page reaches 0, it will direct you to where you can find out more information and actually purchase a ticket. It will be first come, first serve. We will sell it through the email. So email is a big thing. If you are at all interested, make sure you are on the party list. That's how you're going to get access to the tickets. And then for the first 24 hours, that's how we're going to sell. So whoever buys in the first 24 hours, and then we will open it up and have that link on our website after that. So, but like I said, we have about 500 people on that party list, and we only have a max of 300 tickets to sell. So just letting y'all know. And like I said, I'll be dropping little hints about the classes that we're going to have and little details. We actually will be going live next week with Miss Caitlin, who is my partner in crime, helping me set all this up to tell you more about those volunteer tickets and the details of everything. But today, we have a very special announcement. Thank you guys for tuning in. And please let me know if you have any questions in the chat. We're happy to answer questions about PatternCon, all of those things. We're very excited. All the details are coming together. But I invited Veronica to join me today because not only will the lovely Veronica be teaching because she is an amazing teacher, and I basically begged her to teach, but Veronica B. Cole is going to be one of our featured keynote speakers. Woo!
Very excited. Very, very excited.
So there, everybody will have access to Veronica and her special keynote to everyone in the main ballroom. And we are so uber thrilled to have her as one of the faces of PatternCon itself, because it's so important. Your message is so important. And I just feel like you need to have this soapbox to stand on and share.
I agree. Yeah, and I'm really excited because, of course, just because it's important to me and a subset of people doesn't mean that it's always important to others, right? And one of the things that is really important when it comes time to talk about and advocate, right, is when we have voices or when we have stages or when we have platforms, it's sharing that with others who can spread that message, right, that aligns with our own. And so I'm really excited that I was even extended this opportunity because obviously I'm someone who speaks up for plus sizes, but size inclusivity, because when people think about size inclusivity, they typically only think about plus sizing. But it's also tall people, it's also petite, it's also very small people. And so we are seeing, unfortunately, we're seeing a cutback of plus sizes being offered. So of course I represent that demographic, but in an area like sewing where we shouldn't be seeing cutbacks on sizing, because as you know, Trisha shares with us, and as we know, pattern drafting, pattern making is math. So if we have numbers, we should be able to create sizes, and we have numbers. So the lack of size inclusivity is something that will always leave me perplexed, because I simply just do not understand how it is that we can't do the math when we have the numbers. So it's not even that the math isn't mathing. It's almost like we're just like, we don't want to math.
Yeah.
So the fact that Trisha is extending this stage to talk about something like that, I'm incredibly excited, right? Because that message matters, because once we get comfortable excluding sizes, then we'll also get comfortable excluding colors. We'll get comfortable excluding different body types. We'll get comfortable excluding different abilities. And that is not something that sits comfortably with me.
Amen. I love it. And that's why we wanted to highlight you, because we want to, the whole thing with pattern making, and the whole reason why I'm obsessed with it and call myself a pattern nerd, is because of the power that it allows us to create what works for us, for our bodies, for other people's bodies that we're making clothes for. That is what, where you need to expand your skills to be able to offer that to anybody. I mean, and I'm proof. I come from my costuming background, where my knowledge in pattern making has afforded me a lifelong career making costumes. And I would say 90% of the things I'm asked to create don't exist in the world, period. They are outrageous, crazy things. So there is no pattern. I had to be able to create that. And that's the power that pattern making brings. There is no limits. There is no, I can't get that size. There is no, I can't find things that fit me. And it's so important. And I feel like this is such an important topic, because the reason it affects so many people. We're saying that it's like you mentioned, it's not just plus size, it's petite and tall and big booty, big boobs, small boobs, all of these things, because the majority of humans are not standard.
Exactly.
And we are taught, society, and we've learned through what's available, that it's our fault that we don't fit into the clothing or the patterns that we can find. And that could not be farther from the truth.
It's not, and then the other aspect of it, right, is that, and this is like my favorite part of teaching, right, is because when we teach people, we are now enabling you to show up in a different way for yourself, right? Whereas when we buy ready to wear items, we're left at the disposal of designers and what they feel like our sizing or what they feel like we should be wearing. And that may or may not actually align with us. And then even if we're buying ready-made things ready to wear, who's to say that's actually going to fit? Because we know that the models have their garments tailored to their bodies for them to show up and look a certain way. Whereas when we buy it off the rack, that's not how it's going to fit normally. But the same thing is true when it comes to sewing, right? Yeah. When we're drafting the patterns, and as we send it through a testing process, we're telling people, go ahead and make those your necessary adjustments so that it fits the body that you have. Because even in pattern drafting, again, we're basing it off of math. And so if we're basing it off of a standard size chart and you don't fit a standard size chart, it's not going to fit you perfectly. You're still going to have to make the adjustments, and that's fine. In pattern drafting, we just want to make sure that the size range is still represented, because we can grade all day. We can make the adjustments all day, but we still need to have the intersections of, hey, if you have a long torso, here's where you're going to go ahead and cut and add that length to. Or if you need to do a sway back adjustment, here's the actual waistline that it was measured for, and here's where you would need to do that adjustment. Yeah. Or if you have a longer side hip, right, then here's where you're going to need to make that adjustment. Well, as pattern designers, I do feel like it's our responsibility to make sure that people are equipped with the information that they need in order to make the necessary adjustments so that they can show up in the fullness that they need to, and not be worried about pulling up, pulling down, shimmying to get things to fit right, because that subtracts from our ability to be fully present in a moment and fully present and show up with our gifts. And so the fact that we're able to teach how to do that, so that way you can show up in your fullness, right? And show up in and be able to deliver exactly what you were meant to be delivering, is really a gift that we get to share. And it's something that I'm really excited about.
Anna, Mr. Pugh is here. Sizing inclusivity is a must in pattern land. Yes, I can't wait to hear your address, is what she says. Thanks, Anna. We appreciate you and your support. And Anna Miss Depew with her lovely patterns will also be with us at PatternCon as one of our vendors. So if you don't know about Miss Depew, you should definitely go and check her out, because talking about sizing and size inclusivity, her cool like scale up patterns and all of these vintage like beautiful silhouettes. She has so many fantastic patterns available on her website, and she will be there in person, in the flesh, with these lovely patterns at PatternCon as well. But yeah, I love that. And I love how you said that, Veronica, about being able to show up with your full gifts, you know, because I think, again, some of us, I've always bucked that system because I just am who I am, and I've claimed it a long time ago. But, you know, what we wear and how we show up in our clothes has more it's not just about like, oh, you're being vain and that's just, you know, your clothes and what does that mean. It is such a personal thing, and it makes a huge difference in how you show up in the world, and how you present yourself, and how you feel. You know, there's that your whole, like, I know you've done a challenge in the past, Veronica, with your dopamine dressing, you know, dopamine like style and finding your own style. And there's been such a huge amount of people who felt like they can't participate in that, maybe because of sizing, or because they couldn't find the right things, or that they shouldn't, or felt like they've needed to shrink down to fit into those averages or what can be found. And that's the power that pattern making brings to our sewing, is that we're able to figure out how to make that pattern work for us, through pattern adjustments, through fitting adjustments, so that we can express ourselves in whatever makes us feel good for whatever we're doing, you know?
Yeah. And it's funny because that's actually how I got into drafting patterns, right? Is because I took a pattern drafting course probably about, let's see, my son is 7. So probably about 4 or 5 years ago. And I didn't take it because I wanted to draft patterns. That's not why I took it. And sitting here as a pattern drafter now, I'm like, well, but I took it because I wanted to learn how to make the patterns fit my body better.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, if I can understand the math behind it and how that relates to the body that I have, then I'll be able to make the adjustments for my body in a better way. And so that's what'll work. I never in a million years thought that I would actually be drafting patterns. But in truth, it's my favorite thing, because I'm obviously not a modest dresser. And when we think about plus sizes and what plus sizes are told to wear, right? And sometimes I share the story about how I was reading this book that was on like styling or fashion, that was by Tim Gunn. And within the first chapter, I just had to put it down, because in that book, he in essence told plus sizes that we should be wearing dark clothes, and that we should wear baggy clothes that don't show off our bodies, right? And I remember thinking to myself, I would like to wear anything but. I would like to wear lots of, okay, so, and I understand that I have on black and white today.
I get it, girl. I get it. I'm kind of anti-black. Anytime I wear black, just know that there was a conscious decision that morning to be like, am I really going to wear black today? Because it is so not.
It is very,
Mine
I
comes
reached in and pulled it out, and I was like, black. We'll go for it.
We'll go for it.
We'll go for it.
Yay, Sarah. Thank you. So yeah, I just want to, like, I totally get that. I hate that that's how that was portrayed in Tim Gunn. And I love that you kind of turn, and I want to hear more about that. My anti-black comes from theater, because when you work in theater and you
have to be in black, so you can't be seen.
You have to be invisible. Yeah. You have to wear all black.
Blend into the darkness, fade into black.
Which I get, but now I am not. I am not invisible. I don't choose to be invisible. I have a whole bunch of black clothes, because, you know, I had to be stylish black, even though it had to be black.
Yes.
It wasn't going to be no boring black t-shirt and some jeans. But yeah, every time I go to pull out something that's black, that's cute, I'm like, I feel like I'm going to work. Like, I don't feel like that's the energy I want to be in. So I feel you on
Right.
that for sure.
Right. It's funny because I wear black so rarely. Now I kind of feel like whenever I do put on black, it's such like a like my daughter, my oldest, is always in black. And I'm just like, girl, why do you ask me to make you pink clothing or make you these things if
If
you're
you're not
not
gonna
going
wear
to
them.
wear anything besides black, right? But so now whenever I get dressed in black, she'll be like, you're just trying to be like me. And I'm like, sure thing. Twinsies, black from head to toe. Excellent. I love it.
But you're not in
Um,
all black. You've got black. You've got a print, a very fun print on.
yes, but just to fully represent, like I definitely do have on like black leggings as well. So I am,
You're also a
and I will
busy,
definitely put
busy
on my
mom
white Crocs.
entrepreneur as well. So,
Right.
but you know
Today
what?
is like work from home day.
But taking a break from that and throwing on your fun cardigan, which I bet you made.
You know what? This was actually, so when I went to Frocktails, New York, they lost my bags.
Oh, shoot, that's right.
And so I was without bags for almost 2 days. So this was one of the sweaters that I had to buy when I was out there because I was like, well, like we're still gonna be cute,
Right?
even though I have to now buy clothing. But I love a cardigan. Cardigans are like my favorite
Because I was gonna say
piece
you've
of like,
made
I
a
guess,
couple of
outerwear.
cardigans. That's why I thought maybe that was one that you bought. I'm not wearing
And yeah,
something
I
I made
actually
either.
have made one that's very similar to this, but I didn't do the color blocking here. But yeah, I have made one that's very similar. But because I had to buy it, now I feel like I wear it because
Right.
it's in spite of, you know what I mean? It's like purely out of spite that I wear it.
Yeah.
Like I still look at it like, ugh, I can't believe I had to buy that when I packed like my cardigans. This is not my emotional support cardigan that I made. I will say that.
Your white puffy one. That's not
No,
really a
it's
cardigan.
it's the pale pink one. I'm like, it's normally in my office, but it's not today. It must be being washed. But I'm like, my emotional support cardigan.
We all need one. I have my
We do.
my hoodie. I have my emotional support hoodie. It's like my okay, work is done. I'm just chilling around the house. I have my hoodie. It's like faded now. I don't care. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
It's like my
It's the best.
yeah.
Yeah.
But so you take us along your journey a little bit. So you started learning cuz I want to also point that out. You took a pattern making class because you wanted to learn about fitting.
Yes.
Because if you don't already know, fitting is pattern making. They are the same thing. You are making adjustments to your pattern to make that pattern fit you. So the more you understand about pattern making, the easier it's going to be to know how to make patterns fit you, make clothes that fit, because essentially you're adjusting the pattern to do so. So that is part of the power, and that's why we will have classes on fitting as well as drafting, on top of that. Mm-hmm. But so you took that class to learn about fitting, and then how did that morph into you making your own patterns?
So I was already working with not Patterns for Privates, but for Made for Mermaids. Mm-hmm. And it's owned by Megan Gorman. And she was like, hey, I love your aesthetic. I think you should come on and be a designer with me. And I was like, haha, sure. And that was probably at the end of 2022.
And it's Made, MADE for mermaids. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put it in the chat.
And then right after that, Mimi had asked me to come and design for Nomi Patterns. And she was like, you don't actually have to draft anything. And I was like, okay, cool. So I started out with that. And then I was like, you know what? I will draft patterns because I'm really having a great time designing. So my first pattern was the Cali dress because it's like this cross halter deal. And I was just like, I think it's so cute. And I think at the time, Old Navy had just come out with one. And I was like, I love this style, but I don't really love any of the colors that they came out with. So I went ahead and I just drafted it myself. And that was the first pattern. My second pattern was the Aurora jumpsuit. And it was because I wanted like a fit, like something that fit the bust area, but then had a wide leg short or pant that went along with it. And I was like, this is perfect for summer because it has a built-in bra. So it's got the shelf bra built in.
Nice.
And so
I
it's,
didn't realize that about that jumpsuit.
Yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
so because of that, it makes it so that you don't actually have to do binding for the straps. It's just a simple turn. And so because of that, I was like, oh, this will be fantastic for summer because in Atlanta, it's hot. It's always like, you're like, I want to wear the minimal amount of clothing. Exactly. So I was like, this is easy to just pull on. And so it comes in a strapless version as well as a spaghetti strap version, which I loved. And then I think after that was the primrose sweatshirt because I wanted invisible pockets. Yeah.
Which I have.
I wanted to, and Trisha has made that pattern. I wanted the invisible pockets, and then I wanted pleated shoulders to kind of give just a little extra. And it's a dolman style, so it's really an extra like area right here, which I just loved. And I actually turned that into a zip up hoodie for when I had my reconstruction surgery after my mastectomy.
That's great.
Because I needed to be able to zip up and down. And then I think after that was my pleated skirt. And it's a pleated skirt because I was like, oh, well, you know, athletic inspired stuff is in, you know, for the pickleball girlies, right? Or for those who still play tennis. I was like, this will be perfect. And and that skirt is still very big because like pleated skirts are always in.
Yes.
And everyone always thinks of pleated skirts being for woven fabric, and I drafted it for knit fabrics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and I love going back to what you said that you saw like the Cali pattern, the Cali dress. You saw it at Old Navy, but they didn't have it in any of the colors that you wanted. I mean, I always say this all the time. I'm like, people who sew are rebels. We've decided we don't want what you have in stores. We want to make it out of the fabric we want to make it out of. We want to make it fit us if we're going to like buy something to wear. And you know, that way we can, like you were saying earlier, show up in our best expression, show up as we feel good so that you can show up in the world and do your magic. Because when you're not feeling your best self, you can't, you know, do what you're put on this planet to do. Like, we want you to shine as bright as you should shine, you know, and not be brought down by what's just available and out there. And I also love all of those designs are so fun and so flirty and not just this black, oversized, cover up your body, moo style.
Not a potato sack.
Sacks. You know, that is.
But speaking of showing up as our best, I do have to run to the bathroom. I've been trying to drink my water because I was dehydrated all last week. So let me run to the restroom and I'll be right back. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I'm so sorry. I'm like, nature's calling.
You gotta listen. You gotta listen. My friend always says, like, whenever I would tell her I had to use the restroom, she would just do this. And I'm like, that's not enough. And then she would do this. Hey, you gotta go when you gotta go. My boy is fine. He's calmed down outside. He likes to be outside anyway. Anyway, so I'm super, super excited to have Veronica as our keynote. She will also be teaching. So Veronica is an avid Projector sewist. She uses the Projector not only because it's super easy and she can, you know, use that and not have to wait for the paper or use a lot of paper in sustainability. But you know, that's what I was gonna say. It's also sustainable. So I don't know tons about Projector sewing. I've always been a hands-on paper girl, more than the digital stuff, but we are going to have some digital classes. So if you are interested in learning how to use Illustrator for pattern drafting, we are going to have a class on that. And we have the Projector sewing, which Veronica will be teaching, because I feel like it's super popular. It's sustainable. Like, we're always looking for that. That's always a big thing. I was just telling them that you are also teaching a Projector sewing class. So if you want to talk a little bit about that, about why you're such an advocate for Projector sewing and like what advantages there are to that, and you know, maybe talk about that a little bit. So are there any Projector sewists here with us today? I'm curious.
Yeah. And while people answer, like, Projector sewing, it has become Easily my favorite part of sewing because it's funny because like when I'm teaching, right? And so when I'm teaching at the studio and I teach locally, if you're in the Atlanta area, come and take a class with me. I teach at Top Stitch Atlanta. But like last night, I'm starting a new pullover, a woven pullover, and they're like tracing off the patterns and then cutting them out. And I'm like, wow, you guys are really amazing. Every time I watch you guys do this, I think to myself, these people have all the patience in the world because when I tell you that the amount of freedom that I have felt since switching to projector sewing is incredible. And I've been sewing with a projector or using a projector to help me cut out my patterns for about 5 years now, 5, 6 years.
Wow.
And for me, because I'm primarily a PDF or an indie pattern sewist, it was really a natural move. But I was really concerned because I do tend to make a lot of adjustments, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to do that with a projector, except you can. And it's not only that you have to make the adjustments onto the digital or the soft copy of the pattern. You can always do some quick and dirty adjustments as you're actually cutting the pattern out just with the fabric. But using a projector to sew has really freed up time for me, right? As we can see, I've got my cutting table back here. It projects directly onto the fabric, and I use a rotary cutter, which is normally next to me at my desk, honestly. And it's so much easier, right? Because I don't have to worry about printing. I actually left the corporate world 10 years ago. My 10-year anniversary in entrepreneurship is actually April 30th.
Congrats.
And so I know,
That's great.
I'm so excited. So I left because I wanted to be a sustainability and parenting blogger. And so to me, it's really important that I reduce my carbon imprint as much as I possibly can. And I know that with sewing, this can be a very wasteful, and I don't even want to say hobby, but a very wasteful area of life. Because we've got fabric scraps, we've got paper, there are just different things that can come about. So I feel like by limiting my paper consumption, using a projector, it's very helpful. Not only that, but it's also helped me in keeping my patterns organized because I can keep them digitally.
Right.
I always have access to tutorials on my phone or on my tablet because they are digital. So it's really helped. And projector sewing, not only does it save time, but for me, it also helps me to save fabric because I can play pattern Tetris so much easier with my fabric that way.
So we have lots of chat in the chat about can you draft a new pattern off of a projected sloper? Yes, she says.
Yep.
Can you make a rounded back adjustment? There's been a lot of questions that people have been interested in it or they've been on the fence about it because how do you make pattern adjustments? And I think that's what you're going to be sharing with us in the class.
Yeah,
right?
So I'll be talking more about that. So make sure that you buy your ticket and come to my session. But we'll be going over, one, like what if a PDF pattern doesn't exist? How do I project then? And then more importantly, what if I want to hack that PDF pattern? Like, can I actually change the look and feel so that I can project that new pattern piece? You can make adjustments, you can hack, you can do all of those things and more with your projector. And that is what I will be actually going over in my session when I'm out with Trisha.
At PatternCon. So yes, you absolutely can. Yeah.
I do full booty adjustments. I do full bust adjustments. Was doing full tummy adjustments. You can do sway back adjustments. So any adjustment that you can do with paper and pen and your rulers, you can absolutely do on the projector file.
That's so awesome. Yeah, we have a lot of people who said that, or there's a few people, I have one, not set up yet, just started projector sewing. So yeah, and that's why I was like, girl, you got to teach a projector sewing class.
Yeah. And it's funny because so Trisha did not beg because Trisha is a good friend of mine. So as soon as she said that she was running this, I was true. I really hope that she wants me. That's
like I would.
I was like, oh man, I really hope that she's like, Veronica, please be there. so that I could be like,
I only asked like 5 times for her to say
already on my
to be a
calendar.
teacher.
But when she was like, well, here's a link for you to sign up to tell me what you want to teach, and then I didn't fill it out because
Life
it was
has been
spring break
exploding.
and I was making stuff and I was navigating Expo and all these other things. And I was like, hey, you know your peeps best. What would they benefit from? Like, what is it? What are things that they're asking questions about that you know me well enough that I could answer those questions, right? Because whenever I teach, I don't want to teach what I think people want to learn. I want to teach what people actually want to learn, which is the reason why when I'm teaching, I'm like, please interrupt me with your questions. Because if you have a question when you walk away from me, then you didn't get what you came for from my sessions, right? Or from my classes. And so she was like, can you do projector sewing? And I'm like, girl, in my sleep, of course. So very excited to bring this forth because the whole notion of being able to make those adjustments on the pattern pieces was a huge drawback for me when it came time to, because I decided to jump into projector sewing right after with Made for Mermaids, we dropped the share skirt. And that was like, I love a mini skirt. Like, I get that I have big legs, but you're going to get these big legs, these big ankles, this cellulite. So you're welcome, right? Thick thighs save lives. And I'm out here performing miracles for everyone. All right. And from the front, it looked great. But then when I turned around to the side or in the back, I was giving out free shows and I'm a married woman. And that's not
you
exactly
charged for
what my
that.
husband signed up for, right? Especially free. Because he's like, well, in OnlyFans, times are hard. Just JK.
Right?
Right. But, learning how to do the full booty adjustment to accommodate my lovely lady lumps in the back was freeing for me. And once I really understood how to do that, I was like, well, I have to do this all the time. So for me, it was a huge drawback, and it really delayed me getting into projector sewing because I was like, well, I'm not going to be able to grade and because from my bust on down to my hips, I do a lot of not just grading, but also adjusting, right? And now I'm having to do more full bust adjustments because my boob side is never going to change unless I decide to go back underneath the knife. But I've lost 100 pounds. So the rest of my body has changed. That now I have to learn how to make the adjustments for my bust width as well. But my best friend is a G cup. So I make her clothes and I always had to do full bust adjustments for her. And so even as I've taken, myself to the projector, sometimes I do quick and dirty ones, especially if it's a knit pattern and I don't necessarily want to go in and actually dissect it. And I know I'm just adding a little bit of space right here and to the length just to kind of even things up. But you can do all of that and more with the projector.
It's so cool to hear. Yeah, I do want to hear more about that as well. I'll probably be busy, but if I can. I think it's Sin Metu is asking, for those who can't be there in person, will these classes be available to learn online as well? So thank you so much for that question. This actually, both Veronica, I think you also have virtual classes as well. I know you teach in person at Top Stitch, but I do mainly virtual classes. We actually have a projector sewing class in my membership that I just launched. And speaking of full bust adjustments, our class, I just hired a teacher to teach us about multiple different ways to do full bust adjustments in our membership for June. But so for the whole purpose and point for PatternCon was for us to come together in person because I feel like we need that now more than ever in this digital age. It's amazing that we can all connect with so many people from all over the world. But I think there's still that craving. We're still alone in our sewing rooms, like by ourselves. And I think that I've been hearing that a lot from people when I first proposed this idea, is that people want to come together and come in person. And like Veronica and I have done Sew Expo, we've done other sewing conventions before. And it's so great to actually get hands-on with people and meet with people in person. But the reason I decided to host PatternCon or develop PatternCon is because a lot of those other sewing conventions that exist out there are mainly focused on quilting, or bag making or crafts.
Or sewing.
Yeah, not so much garment making or specifically pattern making and fitting. So this is our first year, hopefully to many more. And so I would like to incorporate a digital aspect, a streaming aspect to it, but because the AV costs are pretty insane, we're not going to be able to do that this year. But I do know, like, check out Veronica B. Cole Designs, right? Is on Instagram. Veronica B. Cole Studio, and check out her classes. She does have digital classes that you may be able to join in on. But for PatternCon, this is specifically so that people could come together in person and we could just have and it's also good for networking, making friends, like how many of us don't even have people in our lives that understand how exciting it is when we finally learn how to use a projector and make adjustments and, like do all those things, and to be able to surround ourselves with people in person. And this is kind of like a celebration of this craft and us coming together.
Exactly.
Yeah. W Designs by Diane says, I have a note from my therapist that I need to get out of my studio and connect with other sewists. Well, sounds like PatternCon is right. What the doctor ordered, right?
Literally what the doctor ordered.
Right. And then Beth Zuki was asking, I don't know if you want to answer this question, but which pattern drafting program is more friendly with the projector?
All of them. Only because as long as you can export to PDF, that's the only thing that you need to be able to do in order to project. But there's a couple of different options that you can even use as far as like projecting. I use PDF. I use Acrobat Reader because I like to teach ways that are fiscally advantageous. You know what I mean? So we aren't out here making these huge financial investments.
Yes.
So I like to do free things. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So a lot of my methods are done free, but I draft in Illustrator. And
we will have an Illustrator. I think you had stepped out, but we will have an Illustrator. Jazz is going to be teaching our Illustrator pattern drafting class at PatternCon. So that is one class that we're going to offer for sure. Yeah.
Fantastic.
She says if I can get a ticket, I'm there.
In person.
Well, pay attention to those emails, you guys. That's how you're going to get in for sure. But yeah, and that's, I love that. And that's what I love about, and why I wanted to include the Illustrator class as well, is because there are great programs out there. Clo 3D, there's StyleCAD, there's Gerber, there's Lectra. There's a lot of really intricate, amazing pattern drafting software programs, but they're pricey. And if it's something that you're doing all the time and maybe working with big corporations, like it's worth it. But for those of us who just maybe want to sew for ourselves, or maybe like we're starting a new business, you're starting to make patterns, that's a big investment up front. So it's great that that you can share how to use those more affordable programs. And I'm a big fan of that too. Maybe it could be covered by insurance. Oh, going to the PatternCon? I love that.
A thought.
Definitely, it is way good for mental health. Terry says, do you have any idea as to how much the event is going to cost? Yes. So tickets will include all of the classes. And as I mentioned before, we're going to have a vendor alley area. Everybody's going to get a swag bag, get stuff. We have lots of fun stuff that we're going to be giving away. We have a few, community engagement things that are happening in the main ballroom. We have lunch included. We have the power packs every day with snacks and goodies. So to keep you hydrated and keep you full of yummy snacks while you're going through and learning all of these amazing superpowers. We have a few keynote speakers and just community things, like we're going to do a challenge. So all of that is included in the ticket price. It's not like you buy one ticket, and then you have to buy each of your individual classes. They will all be included. So it's like going to Disneyland. You buy one ticket, you get it all. So the ticket prices are going to be around $350 for the Saturday and Sunday. And if you are interested in getting a volunteer ticket and can come on the Friday to help us set up, then that bonus 2-hour session with me after we've put all the signs up and we've set everything up will be included in that as well. And the rooms at the hotel, we have a discount block. It's very affordable. They're about $145 a night, I believe, is our discount rate. So that is also, so that is kind of to give you guys some idea. Have you considered live streaming some sessions to members of the Pattern Place? Pattern Place, we have our own things that are happening in there. And again, the whole streaming situation and AV is a very pricey part to add on to a live event. So I am having to be minimal for this first one, but definitely it is being considered for the future, assuming that everyone shows up and it's a successful event, which
there will be a future. Yeah.
That we can add on more of those things. But for right now, this is its own thing, PatternCon by itself. But we have lots of fun in the Pattern Place, and there's tons of other fun classes and things going on there too. Iman says, I'm very much looking forward to PatternCon. It's happening in my hometown, Queen City, Charlotte. Woo woo! Iman, yes, that's awesome. And we'll be looking out for the info and ticket pricing. Yes, I love that. I can't wait. So what are the times? The times for PatternCon, Kristen? So Saturday will be a full day. I believe we open doors at 8 and sessions start at 9 a.m. and they will go until about 6:30, I want to say. And then Sunday is going to be a shorter day, again, open at 8 and start things at 9 and go till about 2 o'clock on Sunday. So basically, because we're starting early on Saturday for the full day, so you want to make sure you're there ready to go on Saturday. And then Sunday, you could even leave Sunday night, to get back home. I really wanted it to be something that I know a lot of people work, that you can't always take time off work, that this would be accessible, that you would be able to work and not have to lose out on income from work and just come for a fun pattern-filled weekend. Our machines provided or needed, thinking about travel plans, Mary Beth. I like the way you're thinking, Mary Beth, thinking about all these supplies and materials that you're going to need. We will not be using machines. So we are specifically, again, for this first year, we are specifically focusing on pattern drafting and fitting. So we will have some classes where you're setting up your pattern and we'll go home with a pattern and possibly fabric cut ready to go home and sew. But the bulk of the classes are going to be focused on learning about pattern adjustments. So pattern and drafting and fitting and those kinds of things. So yeah, it's pattern focused so that you can go home and sew to your heart's content. But again, that goes into equipment and in electrical and all of that. So for this year, we're not going to have machines, but we don't need them because we're going to be drafting and doing fun stuff like that. Rulers, etc., Gail, and all that, supplies. So there will be supplies. And actually, I was just talking about this with my partner in crime earlier today about how we're going to make sure that everybody gets the supplies that they need and want. So more information on that will be coming out because a lot of the classes are going to need similar supplies, rulers, pattern, needle wheels. We also have Sew Tights is one of our sponsors. So we're going to have cutting stations in the classrooms as well. If you guys don't know about Sew Tights, you're going to love them. They're amazing.
I'm like, you can see my Sew Tights right here.
Sew Tights is a magnetic cutting system. It's fabulous. They are so awesome. So there's a little something in the goodie bags from So Tights. Plus, we're going to have a cutting system that I think will be raffled off. So yeah, it'll be a lot of like, I think we're also, so we'll talk about all of that. We're going to make sure you guys are covered and have all of the stuff that you need, but you will not have to travel with machines or need a machine. We're going to be focusing on the other things. Well, I know that Miss Veronica
To go run carpool.
needs to go run her carpool, so we've got to start wrapping things up. But needle wheel fit criteria for carry on, yes, I have carried on my needle wheel before, like I said, so in rulers, of course, and those things. These lives just help me get more excited and make things to wear to PatternCon. Yes, I know. The dates, once more time, are August 16th and 17th is when the convention is happening, PatternCon itself. Reminder, tickets for the volunteers, which we only have 30 of, will be happening next Friday. So make sure if you wanted to participate in that, we'll be talking more about it this week, that you look out in your emails to get all of that. And then the rest of the tickets for general admission will go on sale the following Friday, May 2nd. And we will be sending everything through email. So if you want information about this, please, please, please check out PatternCon.com. That link is down below. Sign up for the party list. That is who is going to be getting this information so that you can have the ability to purchase a ticket. We are so excited to announce that Veronica is one of our keynote speakers, and she'll be teaching Projector sewing. Lots more information to come. Thank you guys so much for coming and joining us for this today, and celebrating PatternCon. It's coming. All right, everybody. We will talk to you soon. Hopefully, we'll see you in Charlotte in August.